I love that song. Welcome everyone to our Stranger Things Season 2 review. We just got through all the episodes. I had to do it in 2 sittings.
1 sitting.
You blew through it all in one. I don't know.
How?
Joe, how long did it take you?
It took me like 3 days because I was fucking busy as fuck.
All right, well, we're finally through all 9 episodes. We get 1 more episode this season over the season 1, and we're ready to give you our final verdict and tell you whether we think Stranger Things 2 is able to recapture the sort of lightning in a bottle that Stranger Things, the surprise hit of Netflix, if it can do it again. So, I'll start, and I think that Stranger Things 2, not only is it bigger and scarier and way more action, but the characters also get a ton of depth, and new characters are introduced, some good, some not so good. But I think overall, this is a hugely successful season for Stranger Things.
I agree 100% with that.
For me, this catapults it into the annals of television, sort of legendary, series. Like Game of Thrones. Stranger Things is creeping up into Game of Thrones territory for me, if it can keep it at this level. Now, is the second season as good or better as the first? That's the big question. Is Stranger Things 2 better than the first?
To me, I'm gonna say yes. It's slightly better because the first one was basically you get to meet the characters, and they did a great pacing of introducing everybody, which I fucking love the characters in it. Dustin, by far, favorite.
Dustin is the fucking best, right?
Yeah.
What?
What?
You better get Dustin in season 1?
Yeah.
No, season 2, man. That fucking
Steve is pretty awesome.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I love Steve and Dustin. This
that
matchup,
little bromance.
the bromance that I never knew I needed.
He actually grew on me.
Yeah.
The first
Steve.
for
For
He was
sure.
a jerk in the first season.
Exactly.
sure.
I was like, all right, I can do without
You know
this
what?
guy.
Steve is now my
turnaround.
favorite character. One of my favorite characters. I think it's Steve and Dustin.
They
are my
need more
top
scenes
characters.
together.
So that's why, and that catapults season 2 to better
this
than
one
season
has
1.
the other one had more mystery.
Go ahead.
I don't agree at all.
Okay.
So I think
season 1's better.
I think season 1 is better. I like season 2. I'm not a season 2 hater at all, but season 1 was caught me so off guard with how good it was.
Yeah.
It was just really, really good.
Yeah.
And so this, I had higher expectations going in. There was
Maybe that's why.
there was an episode that shouldn't have been in the entire.
We'll talk
entire
about
series.
that. Episode
Yeah, I'll give
7.
you that.
But I thought it was really good, but I don't think it quite surpassed the original season.
Okay. And you know what? We have all 3 opinions because I believe that Stranger Things 2 is just as good as season 1. Not better and not worse. It does some things better. For example, the horror elements, the action, the grandiose, the cinematography has actually been improved as well. But it does some things worse. And that, tonal shifts, it's a spin-off series trying to be forced down our throats in episode 7 with those reject X-Men, which we'll talk about. So basically, it's a great thing, and it adds so much depth to the Stranger Things lore with a new villain. We get a more depth to the Upside Down, which is the other dimension, and this new force called, I guess, the Mind Flayer.
The Mind Flayers.
And we are already approved for a season 3, and I think the Duffer Brothers, not a season 4 yet, but the Duffer Brothers had said in many interviews that they plan it about 4 seasons. Maybe they could extend that to 5, but I think right now it's about a 4-season thing. And I'm just happy. So, performances, great. The new characters that they added, what did you guys think about that? Let's start. Grab a new character that they added.
Max. I really like Max's
You like
character.
Max?
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
It's a new female character added to the group. You didn't feel that she was just kind of an 11 replacement?
A little bit, but not really. It's like the new girl. She's trying to be one of the guys.
Yeah.
She's an outcast as well.
Yeah.
So
And it's been because in this Stranger Things season, 11 is a little isolated from the group for much of the season, really. She's just got her bonding with Hopper. But I liked her bonding with Hopper. I thought that Hopper and 11's maturing relationship is payoff for season 1. And it really develops Hopper from this burnout type of character and his tragic loss of his daughter into why he's overprotective of 11 and wants to keep her in his little fucking shack and know this and remember our rules and then setting up traps all around. You know what I mean? He wants to keep her very controlled and then we get a little bit of her rebellious side because she's going through adolescence. Yeah. And that's probably the only excuse you could sort of make for episode 7.
Yeah, there is no excuse.
There is no excuse of her going out. But so because 11 and Hopper have this storyline on the side, I guess they felt the need to inject another character into our group, which is Maxine. We have 2 new characters, Maxine and Billy.
The stepbrother.
The stepbrother, who they wanted this character to sort of add in a human villain. Add a human villain back into the mix. And I liked Billy. And he serves his purpose well. And I see a lot of people hating on, oh, there's no depth to Billy. It's like, there's not supposed to be depth to your human villain.
Have you ever watched an 80s movie? Like, he is the head ski patrol guy, or he is the captain of, whatever sports team.
Yeah.
He's always that guy.
He's a Cobra Kai guy.
Yeah,
they even had an Easter egg. Joe, did you see the Easter egg with one of the guys wearing Cobra Kai outfit in the Halloween party? So Billy is the new badass in town, and I love his sort of butting heads with Steve. It was almost kind of a little homoerotic, a little bit.
In the shower? Yeah, when they were naked together.
I honestly was like, is he gay?
I don't know. I think he's just bisexual because obviously he's into women because he hilariously hits on Will's not Will, Mike's mom, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is probably set up for what we'll see in season 3. But I thought Billy was a good foil and a human villain in addition to our Mind Flayer character from the Upside Down for this season. It even adds more depth to Steve's character as well. So I thought it served good purpose. What do you guys think of Bob?
I love Bob.
Bob is amazing.
Bobby. All right, so we'll talk a little bit more about that in our expanded views. But Sean Astin, right?
Rudy.
He's from the Goonies, he's Lord of the Rings, and so because Stranger Things is so filled with nostalgic elements, it was kind of a little odd to see him in there. But it's like, hey, kind of self-referential, but he did a great job as... And I thought I'd end up hating him, being like, oh, it's the fucking stepdad character who thinks he's cool, he's making his dad jokes, and you're like, oh,
which is amazing. His dad jokes are great. But it was still kind of hard to see him as a dad. I was like, because I'm so used to seeing him like that.
Mikey.
Yeah. But he does a fantastic job, and he wins me over, and I was so on Bob's team. So there's another great character added to the mix. We have...
Paul Reiser's character, the Doctor.
Oh, yeah.
He was great.
He's essentially reprising his role of Bert from Aliens, kind of the crappy, corporate kind of scientist guy who's just keeping everything under wraps and stuff. So it was kind of fun to see him play with that. But they give the scientist character a little more depth by the end of the season than I thought. So that's what the Duffer Brothers are really good at is depth in their characters. And when some of the characters are just foils, they don't need depth, but they do serve a purpose to drive the other characters forward. And so there's a lot of that in this season. But we got to talk about a brand new character. She's introduced at the very, very start, episode 1. Joe, what did you think of the Lost Sister?
I honestly didn't like it.
Yeah?
I wanted 11 to be like the only one that made it, and it's...
I got you.
It's
you
her.
want 11 to be special.
Yes.
She's not special anymore.
You like handing out special powers to everybody. No, it's...
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you a little bit. I was a little annoyed by it. It kind of felt like a thrown-in choice. I know we're trying to expand the universe, but it just feels tacked on, unnecessary. It almost like they're forcing a spinoff.
They were forcing really hard.
Oh yeah, in episode 7, it's basically breaks the tone or the sort of building of the season and goes off a side adventure in this episode 7 where she travels to New York to meet up with these misfit characters.
She goes to Chicago, the Dagobah system, to learn how to be the 11 Jedi.
Yeah, so it was.
She goes emo.
She goes.
Oh, she has to go emo.
What?
I like that. I like the elements of her changing her look. And that's sort of her teenage rebellion going out. She experiments with her powers and gets a little bit more violent with them and stuff. So it serves a purpose, but the episode itself felt out of place. And they could have done it in a slightly different way that ties a little bit better into the storyline. And her sort of cadre or whatever, her posse.
Suicide Squad.
Terrible. What?
They reference themselves as the Suicide Squad.
They did.
It was really
That
bad.
is fucking terrible. In fact, Suicide Squad is better than this episode and these guys, man. I just did not like episode 7. I think it kind of ruined a little bit of the purpose. I would much rather whenever 11 is away from the group, the show is good. But when she is with the group, it is excellent. Yeah. That's the Game of Thrones territory. When the group is one and they're all together and they're playing off each other, it's fantastic. So, and for me, that's really the only misstep of season 2, where you're introducing this lost sister character, you're making 11 less special. It opens up the door. Here's 11. This sister is 8. Are there 9 other powers?
At least.
Are we gonna get those as well in season 3? Great. Now 11 is completely not special. And then the only other rough patch I think was a little Maxine. Maxine, I get where her character Mad Max,
yeah.
and I like her character, and I think I like the performance of that actress. She's great, but she never really feels like she earns her place by the end of the series. It feels completely unresolved. 11 kind of doesn't really respect her.
Yeah, definitely not.
Mike doesn't respect her. Really, the only two that kind of like her are the boys that wanted to get with her and be her
Lucas
boyfriend.
and Dustin.
Yeah, her being this object of affection for 2 of them is kind of cheap. Like, I did want her to. She, without getting into the spoilers, she does try to. They try to show her that she's earning her place, but she doesn't really quite do that.
Yeah.
So instead, it's just these 2, barely teenagers having a crush on a girl, and I don't want characters for that.
So, besides those 2 moments, this season is so good. The performances, the writing, the depth added to the characters. So many new characters coming in meaningful ways and actually contributing and driving the plot forward and having mini arcs themselves. All well done except for those 2 parts. So I'm going to go ahead and go to final verdicts, and then we could get into spoilers, our favorite episodes, the good, the bad, and our predictions for season 3 and some theories for where we think it's going. So, final verdicts, we'll go Joe.
I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this.
All right. Now, let's also give our ratings for season 1, since we never got to do season 1. So I'll give you some time to think on that. Okay. So what do you think season 2 is?
Season 2 was barely an 8 out of 10, but I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Just barely.
And what hurt it for you?
I mean, 1 out of 9 episodes shouldn't have been there, and it was almost unwatchable.
Yeah, 7.
And it stopped the entire momentum of the show. I mean, the end of episode 6 has a great cliffhanger that you're really, really excited about, and then we go off on the side adventure that's awful. But the music wasn't as good in this one as the original one. Kind of blew me away.
No, I love the music
in this one.
But you're right.
The
first time hearing that music in season 1, it just fits so perfectly. And here it kind of fades into the background, and I almost didn't really pay attention to it. Maybe it's just because I'm used to it.
It's not as prominent as it was in the first one. So
prominent.
I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm saying it wasn't as good as the first one. So I'd give this season 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. I'm going to go with 9 out of 10, just like Joe. And because I think that while there are some things that season 1 does better, there are a lot of different things that season 2 does better. It expands in a different direction. It's not Terminator 2, it's not Aliens 2 for me, where it's better than the original. It is just as good as the first season in its own ways. There were some great pairings. 11 and Chief Hopper really sort of doing that. Stephen Dustin is the best I hope they really continue in this. Teaching him how to pick up girls, his secret
That
with
growl,
the
man.
hairspray.
That growl he kept doing.
And Dustin's growl. Dustin, you just want to pinch Dustin's cheeks. Dustin's mom, which is a new character. See, we get to actually visit some of the families of of our boys.
Oh, yes.
And the sister.
The sister of
Erica,
Lucas.
The sister of Lucas is
She
so
is
funny.
hilarious.
Hopefully we get to see more of her in season 3. So there's just a lot of good stuff here, and a lot more throwbacks and nostalgic stuff like Dustin and Dart, this little pet that he has, this monster pet, which is kind of sort of like. Gremlins. It's Gremlins. I was struggling there. So Gremlins, and there's Aliens references, and Aliens is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Terminator's playing in the
Terminator. There's just Ghostbusters. Like 1984 was probably like one of the best years in movies of all time, and this film has references all over the place to a lot of the great films that came out then and around that time. So. And I also feel that this, and the reason why I went from 8, because I was at 8, and I went to 9, and that's because this I felt had a much better climax and ending than the first season. The stakes were high. You get emotion in it that the original one didn't have. The fact that they end at this snowball, and we're not going to spoil too much, is just amazing. I love the snowball scene, and it's a perfect way to end it. So 9 out of 10 for Stranger Things 2. This is some of the best well, it's not television. This is some of the best. Well, it is, kind of television, Netflix that's out there right now, and Netflix is killing it. So, but we have to do season 1.
Okay, I'm gonna be consistent with what I said.
Okay.
So this was slightly better. So I'm gonna give the first one a 9, and can I give the second one's a 9, a high 9?
Okay, fine.
Let's do that.
Fine.
It's a high 9.
Here's the thing. You
And a
can
9.
give them both 9s, but enjoy one of the 9s better.
There you go.
So don't feel like you need to go to 10 if you don't need to. So both of them are 9s. What about you?
I think the first one was probably a 9. It was really good. I mean, there were some parts that there were some issues, but it was so strong. And it was.
I can't remember any of the issues. Anything that negatively, sort of impacted me, and I felt was very weak. What are some of the weaknesses?
Its ending could have been stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, that was something that you wanted more. You wanted the 2's ending in part 1, and that's something that they remedied. Pretty quickly.
So what would you give it?
I gave the first season a 9, and the second season
9 and an 8. And just like you, Joe, I agree that this and what I said before, season 2 is pretty much on par with season 1. So it's a 9 out of 10 in different ways for me. It satisfies different loves for me. So the season 1, 9 out of 10. Season 2, 9 out of 10. All right, guys. So if you haven't finished and wrapped up on Stranger Things 1 and 2, what are you doing? Go finish it. And we'll see you then. So the rest of you, stay tuned. Man, Bob died. Why, Bob? Justice for Bob. I don't know this justice for Barb. I don't know how that got spun out of control.
They did a lot of Barb stuff.
They did a lot of Barb stuff, and then you could tell that was hardcore fan service. And we're not gonna get justice for Barb. This is sexism right here. And Bob, I think, was a much better character than Barb.
Barb wasn't a character.
Barb was a good character, in my opinion. There was some hidden depth to Barb. It looked like Barb kind of had a crush on Nancy too. I think that was alluded to a little bit.
I think that's wishful thinking, but I mean, it could be.
Don't tell nobody. Anyways, but Bob, man, I loved Bob so much.
Sad.
I wanted him to make it through the end, but I kind of understand why they killed off Bob. They needed an emotional fire starter, just like Joyce, the mother character. She got set off by Will, her son going missing in the first one. In this one, she's set off by Bob's death, because Will is here in the series, and she pretty much attacks her son with flames and heaters, and hurts her son. She's hurting her son. But
She's doing
so she's
exorcism,
mad.
man.
She's
She's
mad because
exorcism.
Bob just died, and she wants that demon out of her son. That gives her the push that she needs in order to be like, that is not my son right now. I need to get that thing out and then have my son back. And before she was teetering the line. So Bob's death is the emotional thing that pushes it forward. But at the same time, it still feels a little cheap.
I mean, but I like that they continued to develop his character even after he died, where the kids are talking about that he founded the AV club,
Oh,
he taught the
yeah.
teacher everything that he knew, and that was
cool.
really nice.
Bob the superhero, and they have
Bob
a
the
picture
superhero,
of
yeah.
him drawn as a superhero at the end. You'll miss it. It's hard to catch. But Joe, did you like Bob?
I fucking loved Bob.
Bob is the best.
Yeah, I was like, that guy's fucking amazing. He's got the dad jokes. He's trying to be the best dad he could be.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm trying to be so helpful. I fucking love him.
I loved him too. Now another thing that we kind of kept away from the quick review is. And the reason why I didn't go into 10 territory or say it's better than season 1 is I do think season 2 suffers a little bit from the repeated storylines, repeated story beats.
Yeah.
What are some of the repeated story beats that happen in this?
Well, are you talking about like the relationship, the Steve and the Nancy relationship?
Well, yeah. Well, that one actually is developed kind of in a natural way and an extension. But what I'm talking about is the Christmas lights have now turned into the tunnel papers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And while Will is back, he's not really back. He's once again comes under attack by the poor fucking Will, man.
He's a spy.
When is he ever going to just be a normal kid like the rest of the kids? In season 3,
He's never gonna be a normal kid.
I know.
He's fucked up.
Yeah, but do you think in season 3 they're gonna have him possessed again and he's gonna get lost again or attacked again in some
Honestly,
way, or will Will finally get a season where he's one of the kids?
I think
they
it's
don't.
gonna
Answer
be.
this question.
I don't think he's coming back for
It's
season
gonna
3 or
be-
4.
The fuck are you talking about?
I think they're going to Chicago. I think season 3 will be like the awful adventures in Chicago.
I will
No, it
flip
will not
this
be.
table right now.
No,
if that
they're not
happens.
that stupid,
I will
Alex.
flip the table.
They're not that stupid. And these are younger guys, the Duffer Brothers, and they listen to feedback. So trust me.
Yeah, they obviously listen to feedback. We had so
They-
much Barb in this.
Yeah, and they even changed a lot of things in the actual season. As the season was going, Bob was being involved a lot more just because they loved Sean's performance. He originally wasn't a part of figuring out the puzzle of the pathways. I figured that out in Beyond Stranger Things, which is excellent, by the way. Unlike Star Trek's little after show with this annoying motherfucker leading it, this Beyond Stranger Thing is so worth watching because they leave it more to the actors. And you see these kids are little kids. They sometimes won't shut up, and sometimes they're like blowing their nose in the middle of somebody else explaining why their character's motivation was a certain way, or eating apples. Like the kid that plays Lucas is so funny. And you get to see Dustin is Dustin. Like nobody can play Dustin but that kid right there. So you see Beyond Stranger Things. But yeah, so I think it suffered a little bit from repeating story beats. Will's in trouble again. The mom goes crazy again. There's instead of Christmas lights, it's papers. Hopper goes into the upside down again and is an
with
idiot.
that
and
too,
gets
though.
hit.
Like, I think somebody else is gonna be the host because Hopper.
Yeah.
He got pretty much sprayed, and he was in there for a while. And so did Dustin.
Yeah,
Dustin got
that's
sprayed.
that's a good mention.
Both of them got sprayed.
But they
The
pretty
got
much.
sprays.
Yeah, but
do the
spray-
sprays have lasting effects? Are we going to see that in season 3? That's a
I don't-
potential.
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, there was a lot of characters in season 1 that were in that atmosphere, like Nancy was.
Yeah, that's true.
Jonathan.
No,
was.
they had protective suit.
No,
didn't.
they went through the tree, and
Yeah, it
then
was Hopper and
the
Joyce, I
spray
think.
is like setting up the environment for whatever these things are, and so he just got
Yeah.
whatever it was.
I would agree that with you a little bit on the side that they're gonna set up in season 3. I guess we're getting into that already. Let's talk about season 3 potential storyline. So I think what they're gonna do, they're definitely bringing back the father character. The brothers have already confirmed he's still alive. And that wasn't just the sister character putting that into her head.
Yeah.
He is alive, though at that point she was. So I think that, and the Mind Flayer's still alive. He's peering over the boys, looking outside in the dance floor. He's like, "Oh man, nobody's dancing with me." He wants to get in there in the snowball dance. And I think what's happening is he's going to possess another person because it's not within the budget for them to do direct battle with the Mind Flayer in his normal form. Yeah. So they have to do possession again in season 3. I guarantee there's possession. Now, who are they going to possess? Can't be Will. That's way too...
It's like, leave the kid alone.
Leave the fucking kid alone already. So it's going to be the father character. You know, when he comes back, he is obsessed with the Upside Down, and he's continuing to try to get at it and stuff. And because he's meddling in it, boom, the Mind Flayer is able to grab him in there. Because nobody else wants to go and try to fuck with the Upside Down anymore, except for him. Who else would want to fuck with the Upside Down? So he's the one going to be possessed. And then 11 is going to get with her lost sister to take them down. And what I think they're going to do, which I hope they don't, is bring in 9 other fucking powered characters, or a few others. Maybe some of them died, in experimentation. But there's like 1 or 2 more. And there's going to be a team of 4, and they're going to go against the fucking father character.
There's a couple other options. Like 11 could be someone that gets possessed. Mm-hmm. 11's mother could be possessed. I mean, she was kind of in that in-between space that originally cracked open the dimensions anyway.
Yeah, her mother.
So, like, her mother has powers. Like, she was bleeding from the nose. She was doing all those other things, too.
That's true. The mother can come in and save him at the last moment. One thing I thought was odd. Do you think that we're going to get a resolution to the mother? Do you think the mother is going to be saved at any point? Or do you think her mind is fucked?
I think her mind is fucked.
Her mind is fucked?
Oh, yeah.
Well, somebody mentioned...
to her? Yeah.
I was watching somebody had talked about, the sister character, 8, or whatever her name was.
8.
Holly.
No, it's like some with a C, Claire, whatever. But she has the powers of the mind and stuff. Maybe 11 will implore her to help her mother character. And why did her mother character want her to see this other sister so much? You know what I mean?
For the Yoda moment, you had to go to Dagobah to increase your power so you can beat the big bad guy.
Yeah,
or something.
And they made mention of, your mother told you to come here for a reason. And although the reason was not to go around murdering people who worked on the experiment like that sister character wanted, I think the reason why is the mother thinks that maybe that character can help unlock the mother, and the mother can come back and be an actual mother. That would be cool. I don't know if they're going to go with that. And I think that we're going to see Hopper get with Joyce. I think that's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope they don't. I just don't think it's something that I don't think either of them need each other to. I mean, I think they've been together before, right? Mm-hmm. It's like something just because there's a man and a woman doesn't mean they have to end up together all the damn time. I mean,
that's true.
They can be friends. It's possible that grown-ups can do that.
Yeah, that's true. So, but people want to see that. Like, they've created camps of Jonathan and Nancy and this love triangle and Steve.
Jonathan.
I'm glad you brought that up. I hated Steve in the first season, and then when by the end, I was like, okay, Steve, all right. Season 2, Steve all the way. I'm on Steve's team, dude. Jonathan, season 2, I'm like, oh my God, you're so fucking boring. Why did I like you in the first season and I wanted you to get with Nancy? You know what I mean?
I think it was a sympathy thing. It's like, oh, this happened to your brother.
Yeah, and now that he's with Nancy, I'm like, this is boring as fuck.
Like, Nancy, you do better, Nancy.
You do better, Nancy. Go back with Steve. He made some mistakes. So they've created these 2 camps, and on Beyond Stranger Things, even the actress that plays 11, she's on Team Stancy. So there's Jancy and Stancy, Jonathan and Nancy, and Steve and Nancy. God. 11's actually on Team Stancy, but the Duffer, the brothers reacted like, what? So I don't think that Steve is ever going to get back with Nancy. And just like you said, he doesn't have to get back with Nancy. I think that he's okay being with the best babysitter.
Yeah,
he realizes this is my talent.
I was a shitty boyfriend.
I'm a shitty boyfriend.
Great babysitter.
But I'm a great babysitter. So
the
scene leading up to and immediately after Nancy and Jonathan getting together was hilarious. I love those scenes. They were super funny.
They were great. And so we get a big action sequence in this one with the Demo dogs, and going into the not really the Upside Down, because it's the Upside Down that is poured into our world. Yeah. And it's great because it's got throwbacks to aliens, like they're in the alien hive, and they figure out that its weakness is fire, and that's how you get its attention. And that's sort of that last arc of episodes, besides 7 fucking everything up. 6, 9, 8, 9 was like, oh my God, who's really gonna die? The fact that they killed off Bomb, and I was like, oh shit, other people might be at risk. and how are they going to survive? All these dogs, especially Steve and Dustin, trying to get out of the area while all these demodogs are running towards them. I'm like, they're fucking. Oh my god,
man.
Steve is gone. Steve is gone.
I thought it was gonna be like a heroic moment or something. He's gonna save Dustin. And I was like, Steve, no.
Right, but no, they were not concerned with that. They go to the climactic battle to try to stop 11, who is doing her badass fucking thing face to face with the Mind Flayer, and he knows her now. He knows her face. He's like, all right. Well, he should have known her already, actually.
She opened the portal, right?
She fucking opened the portal, and she was up in there before. So, just great season. Fantastic.
There was a hiccup. I mean, we've trashed on 7 over and over, but even if we just ignore
7?
that, episode 7 was.
Episode 7.
Episode 6 was, I think, by far my favorite, because at the end of the episode, we realized that Will's being used as kind of like a double agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Flayer has completely taken control, and he's laid this trap for these things, and you realize it at the end. And then Mike is running to go tell everyone, like, oh, it's a trap. He's actually a double agent, and it's really, really exciting. And that's probably why I hated episode 7, because I watched all start to finish, like the whole series. And so 6 ends so brilliantly, and I'm excited to get into it. But I have to wait an entire... Actually, that was the shortest episode, isn't it? It's only 45 minutes.
Yeah, they do go up and down on different episodes. I think that was one of
Yeah, it was a really short episode, but it was right after the most important, in my mind, most important part. And because it sets everything up for the end, and then we introduce to these awful characters.
And the only way they could have made that better, which there's really no way to do it, is maybe if the Lost Sister showed up and helped out, right?
Yeah.
And maybe her Misfit crew showed up and they all fucking died to the Demodogs. That's what I want. So that we don't have to fucking see them in season 3. I don't want to see those guys. But yeah, so to expand on the love triangle with Mad Max, we could talk a little spoilers here. Lucas is the one that ends up with Max. Do you guys approve of this decision? Do you think that's right? It turns out that you think that's the one she should
Dustin
have.
will be fine.
Dustin will be fine.
He's gonna be a ladies' man
He has
later.
the hair trick now. He's gonna be.
Oh
just
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, well that leads into the snowball, Joe. What did you think of the snowball?
I liked it. I really enjoyed that last scene because they were talking about in the first one. So, hey, you want to go to the snowball dance with me? And they finally ended up together.
Did it hit you right here when when Dustin came in and he was like, all right, my hair's all nice, looks exactly like Steve.
He looked like a million bucks,
He looked
man.
like
You
a million
got
bucks. He
this.
goes in here and he finally gets the courage joke, because this is like us in middle school when we'd go to the dance and we were like,
Why you gotta bring that up? Yeah, we got rejected.
we would get rejected all the time, and we'd have to come up with things to make ourselves feel better.
I just went to the bathroom. That's what happened.
You remember my joke where I was like, when I went up to a girl and I was like, you want to dance? And she said, with you? No. And I was like, no, what? I was like, you look fat in those pants. And then you walk up. Yeah, you walk up. No, but seriously, so it hit me right here when poor Dustin was getting rejected.
Yeah.
And then he
I
was
was like,
sitting on
he's
the
bound to get
bleachers.
It made me mad at Mike, because Mike was also like by himself doing nothing, being sad because 11's not there. It's like, go help your buddy out.
Yeah,
like,
fuck you, Mike.
Yeah,
But they were just doing that so that they could have the greater tension of the
I
moment
know.
when 11 walks in. But back to Dustin, because Nancy is the one that comes to the
Saves
rescue.
him, yeah.
And I thought that was fucking perfect story. Perfect, because you see all the girls that rejected him are like, oh shit, Nancy is like the most popular girl in school. Everybody wants to get with her. And they're like, oh fuck, she's dancing. So I think
11th
that's
grader. It's an 8th grader dancing with an 11th.
That's gonna be one of the cool
right.
kids.
That's gonna work out for Dustin. I can't wait to see how that works out for Dustin. But I think what they're actually gonna end up doing is going to high school. So it probably won't matter worse shit, when they go there. They're gonna have new bullies to deal with. Season 3, there's gonna be some good elements there. I think so.
I think they
honestly-
told the story that they needed to tell. Like, so at the end of one,
if it ended right here, would you be
I
satisfied?
would totally satisfied. And actually, my problem is there's a chance, a small chance they can keep this momentum and keep the same.
Yeah.
And there's a small chance they can improve, because there's not a lot of room for improvement. It's a really good series.
How would they need to do it? Lay out what they need for you.
I mean, keep with a compelling story that I care about. They need, probably not go back to Chicago, because I don't care about any of those characters. I don't like the
Will's no longer in danger.
I mean, all of them could be in danger, but he doesn't have to be the victim, like the person that's. And I mean, they did a lot of character development. Like we got to see Will's mom in this was great. I mean, she's constantly, outside of the school dance. She's not letting him out of her sight. And I thought it was really interesting how they handle all that.
Yeah.
So the characters are good, but there's so much room for them to go down. And I'm worried that if they make us a third and fourth season, it's really hard to have a really good first and a really good second, and not a lot of what shows have done that.
Yeah, no. Even Game of Thrones have had series that have been going down real hard. So
I'm gonna have to agree
expect
with
it. We
you,
all
though.
expect it, to happen. And I think season 3 is going to be the potential, biggest chance for that to happen. And there were some dangers in this season that they would go too far in areas. And this shows how good the writing is and how smart the directors and the screenwriters are, that they don't go too far. The Dart, his little pet monster, that everybody, and you could see it right from the beginning. Oh, he's got this monster, and you expect all the boys to be in on it. No, they're like, what the fuck is that, dude? Like, we didn't kill that thing. So I'm glad that they went that way. And then I was worried that, oh no, they're gonna go too far with it. Dart is gonna rescue them at the end, and he's gonna bite all the other fucking things. But that's not possible because he is a part of a hive mind, and they avoided that trap as well. Though they did, they got close.
Yeah.
Where he feeds him the nougats because Dart loves the nougats, but that was perfect. That was just as far as you can take it. Where Dart is more interested in the nougats because he found this new delicious food instead of flesh, and so he's just worried about the nougat eating, and then he lets everybody go by. So, and that to me was fine, and so I was like, man, great writing, smart, know exactly how far to take it, and that's why I have hope for season 3, and I think season 3 is going to be good. So here's how I think it's going to go. They're gonna go to high school. Middle school is over with. That gives the core group new challenges because the strength of this series is the core group and 11, right? So the core group needs new challenges. That's going to be high schools. There's going to be new bullies. There's going to be teacher characters. There's going to be lots of cool stuff like that. And then maybe, and then 11 is going to have to deal with her father character and her mother character. That whole thing is going to be resolved.
Well, she'll be in high school too.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
She's got a birth certificate.
She's got a brand
they said
new
1
identity.
year.
Wait a
it's
year.
like next year's high school.
Perfect. Now 11 gets to be with the group. Will gets to be with the group. And we're going to get the group dynamic. And that's when the show is the best. The pitfalls is me and Alex and even Joe, we don't want the fucking Suicide Squad to show up. Like, we don't care about the Suicide Squad.
No, because I honestly think it's going to take away from the main characters.
Well, it makes 11 way less special.
Yeah, and I have to agree with Alex.
I'm okay with the Lost Sister.
It ending right here, but
I'm okay with the Lost Sister coming in. Do you guys even want the Lost Sister to get lost? You want her to get lost?
Well, as written now, I don't care. I don't. But if they write her in an interesting way, then yeah, sure.
Then yeah. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. They're going to deal with the father character. How does the Upside Down play into it? Possession of the Mind Flayer to the father, and it's on a much greater scale, perhaps a portal, because this is just a small town and a scientist lab. There could be a military base that have learned about all this information because we don't really know how the military plays in effect. It's like, what the fuck? Bring more troops down there, but there's military police and things like that. No, they've got a bigger lab with a bigger hole, and they're experimenting with weapons and shit and trying to learn stuff from the Upside Down, and that shit goes out of control, and that's where the father character is. That's season 3. You heard it here first.
So it's going to turn into The Mist.
Yeah. Okay. That'd be awesome if like
the
monster
creatures
characters
fucking come out like,
that would be
fuck.
amazing. That's season 4, Joe, where the creatures are out there.
Oh, damn.
I want The Mist to happen because I love that movie, and I was pissed.
A good movie.
I was pissed off at the ending of that, but over time, it's one of those endings where you're like, wow. You got balls. Mm-hmm. So anyway, check out The Mist. Check out Stranger Things 2. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys on Stranger Things 3. Bye, guys.